Ain't been up on the block in a minute. I been missing out the walk with the minute. I been building up the blocks like a minute.
What's poppin' YouTube? Jada YouTuber in the building. We watching Jimmy High Roller. 15 facts about the NBA that might blow your mind. Let's get to watching.
All-time leader in points is, but more importantly, and never really discussed, is points generated. An overall total of the number of points a player has created through both scoring and assists. The
Facts.
leaderboard
Look at
for a
LeBron,
statistic
man.
like
He's
this
gonna be
will
up there.
only
Watch.
feature the most
Big Bron
productive
Bron.
and
Big Bron Bron.
impactful players to ever play the game. Well, here is a chart of players who have generated the most points in NBA history. At the bottom, you have some all-time
Look at the
great
GOAT.
players.
He's gonna be up there.
Harden,
Watch.
Westbrook, the point guard himself, Chris Paul. As you go up the list, you won't see any more active
Gonna be the
players.
GOAT, bro.
Just legends of the game. MJ, Kobe, Kareem, and all the way at the top,
The
you
GOAT.
have John Stockton. Which
LeBron.
should hardly come as a
LeBron, he's
surprise
gonna be
since
up top.
Stockton
Look.
scored nearly
Look.
20,000 points in his career and has by far the most assists in league history. Wait, we're missing just one player.
Let's go.
With 56,682 points generated so far in his career, LeBron James already has by far the most points generated of any player in NBA history. Even crazier, he's still got plenty of basketball ahead of him. Today, I've got some NBA facts that may just blow your mind. We've done quite a few of these in the past, maybe 4 or 5. I don't really know. I've done a lot of these videos and I'm losing track at this point. But with that subpar intro out of the way, let's get into this. This past week, the Oklahoma City Thunder had a starting five with an average age of just 20 years and 219 days
Look at
old.
Lou Dort,
The
man.
very next day, the Oklahoma Sooners, a college team in the same state as the Thunder, had a starting five of 21 years and 313 days old. Sounds impossible,
Wow.
but it's true. And it's blowing
Shit
my
crazy.
mind.
Now we gotta
On a
add comment.
similarly
Damn.
odd note, last season on February 6, 2020, the Rockets played the Lakers in LA and had a starting five with an average height of 6 feet 4.5 inches. On that same exact night, at the same exact time, in the same city, the high school basketball team
high school
Mater Dei
team,
had a
bro.
starting five with an average height of 6 foot 7 inches, 2.5 inches taller than the average height of the Rocket starters. What's even more strange is that the average height for a player on Mater Dei's entire roster was still taller than the average player on the Houston Rockets' entire roster. And once again, my mind is about to explode trying to process this information. Russell Westbrook has redefined the triple-double, a stat line that was once a rarity but has now become a common occurrence. In fact, just this week, Russell Westbrook broke the all-time
Stat
Washington
pattern in the
Wizards
building.
franchise record for triple-doubles in just 38 games. Possibly the quickest a player has ever broken a franchise record. In these 38 games,
They winning right now. Washington on an 8 game. I can't even hate on them. I'm not gonna lie to you.
point guard in the NBA, for those unfamiliar, played in 959 games and took 5,072 shots in his 14 seasons in the NBA, and only made 15 three-pointers in his entire career.
Look at these guys, bro.
15.
Making the NBA like
In fact,
that.
Livingston was
I mean,
a
he had
longtime
that
teammate of
injury,
Stephen
but
Curry,
still,
who in
like, come on.
2017 hit a combined 23
You're a
pointers
grown
in
man
back-to-back
being
games,
paid to
which
play
means that
basketball
Sean
and you
Livingston
can't shoot?
made less threes in his entire 14-year career than Steph made in a 40-minute span. When Wilt Chamberlain was playing in the NBA, the league did not keep track of block shots.
Get Wilt, man.
It wasn't until the season after Wilt retired when the
I swear, bro, he probably averaged a quadruple double if they counted the blocking.
NBA finally began to officially record the stats. But through some extensive research a few years ago, Reddit users were able to collect data from 112 games where Wilt's block shots
triple-double, my
were
fault.
recorded. Now, these games only represent about 9% of his career. But with this sample size of games, it was discovered that Wilt averaged about 8.8 blocks per game for his entire career. And since
Demon.
Wilt Chamberlain played 1,205 games throughout his career, we can make a rough estimate of just how many shots Wilt blocked. A total
Ad break.
so staggering that no player since Wilt has even come remotely close. In fact, with a rough estimate of 10,600 career block shots, Wilt has nearly 3 times as many block shots as the next highest player, Hakeem. and your list of unbelievable Wilt Chamberlain records just got longer. Oddly enough, possibly the most impressive defensive player in league history was Wilt's longtime rival, Bill Russell. But when you think of the best defensive player to ever lace up, most think of Scottie Pippen,
Nah, Chief.
Kawhi, maybe Ben Wallace, or Hakeem. But the answer to this question is not nearly as subjective as you may think. The answer is Bill Russell, and it's not even close. In fact, Russell has the NBA record for
Respectfully.
most defensive win shares in a
No.
season. Oh, and he also has the second most defensive win shares in a single season. And the
What, third?
and fourth, and fifth,
Damn.
sixth, ninth, 11th, and 13th. Russell is known for his rings, but his individual greatness has been underappreciated over the years. For perspective, in Wilt Chamberlain's illustrious career, he was the best scorer for 7 seasons. In Bill Russell's career, he was the best defensive player in the league for 11 seasons. In other words, Bill Russell was better at defense than Wilt Chamberlain was at scoring.
They told Wilt not to score anymore, and he's like, all right, cool. I'm going to do other things. He led the league in assists and all that one year. Like, come on. Called him
let
a
that
ball
sink in.
hog, and he changed his
Every
game.
NBA fan knows the long and successful history of both the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics. These two organizations winning nearly half of all NBA championships since the NBA was created. But what most people don't know is that only 2 of the 17 top final scorers of all time did not play for the Lakers or Celtics. You may have heard of these 2 players, Michael Jordan and Stephen Curry. At this point, most fans know Steve Kerr as the coach of the Golden State Warriors.
Melo's gonna be up
Other
there.
fans may know him as the sharpshooter from the Bulls' 3 championships in the 90s. But not many people know that Steve went to 5 finals and won all 5. 5 for 5 on the biggest stage. In those 5 finals appearances, Kerr only scored 96 points. That's a ring for every 19 points scored in the finals. For comparison, Michael Jordan won a ring for every 196 points he scored in the finals. Kobe won a ring for every 187 points he scored in the finals. And LeBron has won a ring for every 390 points he scored in the finals. Steve Kerr, GOAT status confirmed. Lately, the NBA has seen some all-time great games, and oftentimes these games occur on the same night, making for all-time historical days of NBA action. But quite possibly the most incredible regular season night in NBA history occurred on December 8th, 1961, when a 27-year-old Elgin Baylor put up an almost incomprehensible stat line against the Philadelphia Warriors. 63 points, 31 rebounds, and 7 assists. To this day, one of the greatest performances in NBA history. And the Lakers needed every ounce of production they got out of Baylor that night to narrowly edge out the Warriors, because Wilt Chamberlain dropped 78 and 43 on the same exact night. 78 points and 43 rebounds.
Cobb
In a
not as
single
good,
game,
but
these two
I think he
legends
could
combined
dominate
for
today.
141 points and 74 rebounds. And if there's anything I'm absolutely
Definitely
certain
could.
of, it's that there will... Now, some NBA fans may know of a stat called MVP shares, which is basically a number that represents how many MVP votes a player received over his career in relation to winning the award each season. For example, if a player didn't receive any MVP votes in a season, he would get 0 MVP shares that season. If a player wins the award and receives 80% of the first place votes, he would get 0.8 MVP shares. Now, this stat is interesting
LeBron should
because,
be like
as I
a
just laid out, you don't
8-time
even need a
MVP.
full MVP share to actually win the MVP. For example, Derrick Rose has 0.98 MVP shares, but has an MVP award in his trophy case. On the other end of the spectrum, you have guys who have piled up multiple top 5 MVP finishes but have never won the award. Like Chris Paul, who has 1.66 MVP shares but has no MVP to show for it. Shaq and Kobe both have more than 4 MVP shares for their entire career but have just 1 regular season MVP each. But what's really interesting is that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has the most regular season MVPs in league history with 6, despite having far less MVP shares than both LeBron and Michael Jordan. Basically, every time Kareem could have won the award, he did. Whereas players like Michael, Kobe, LeBron, and Shaq possibly got robbed of at least 1 regular season MVP award. On another note, here's a graph of the top active NBA players when it comes to MVP shares. And here's LeBron. Oh, wait. Sorry. Here's LeBron. Jerry West has scored 40 points or more in the finals, 10 times, which doesn't sound like a lot at first, until you realize that's more 40-point finals performances than Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry,
Not
Larry Bird,
LeBron,
and
though.
Michael Jordan
Hey.
combined. But the logo's greatness doesn't end there. Jerry West also has the most 30-point games in finals history. Oh, and he also has the most 20-point games in finals history as well. Luka Doncic is already 11th all-time in triple-doubles in NBA history, despite playing just a little over 2 seasons worth of games in his career. In fact, throughout his career so far, Luka
I think Luka will be top 15 when he retires.
tallies up a triple-double 1
Top
in
10.
every 5 games, a triple-double rate far exceeding any other player in NBA history. Coming into the NBA, Zion Williamson was the most hyped prospect since LeBron James.
Yeah,
However,
Zion
that hype has
definitely gonna
quickly
be
died
top
down in
20.
just his second season in the NBA, despite Zion's incredible play so far. In fact, out of all active players, the quickest to reach 1,200 career points isn't LeBron, it isn't Kevin Durant or Damian Lillard or Luka Doncic. It's Zion Williamson. So far, Zion has been everything we expected, and yet somehow he went from overrated to underrated in just 2 seasons. Oh, and if it is, it's Wilt
That
Chamberlain.
little goat. Okay.
By a lot. But if Zion and Wilt are 2 of the fastest to accomplish this feat, who is the slowest? Well, from October of 1983 to February of 1991, over the course of 7.5 years, a player by the name of Greg Kite eventually reached a career point
Who
total
the fuck?
of 1,205. This took him 473 games to accomplish. Good job, Greg.
Let's go and wrap it up for today, man. Shout out to Jimmy High Roller. And leave what you want to watch in the comments. And Jada Reactor, Jada YouTuber.
Ain't been up on the block in a minute. I've been missing out the